Oh, where am I? Hello. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome. My name is Miladies. I am your spirit shifter here guiding you on your journey towards self-awareness. And on this channel, we talk about a bunch of things. And one of those things is giving tips on how to get through life. So these are one of those videos. Nonetheless, I do have astrology videos as well as tarot videos. Go ahead and check that out. I am doing this video during a time where this information is needed. We're in a space in September of 2024, allowing ourselves to pretty much release. So the energy that we're in right now is to release. At the end of the video, I am going to give you guys 3 tips on how to maneuver your way into releasing people, places, and things. There's a couple of things we're going to talk about. Y'all know I like the science behind why holding on to things is harmful to us. We're also, y'all know I got my notes. We're also going to be talking about the fear and the self-sabotage that comes with it, as well as releasing trauma. So we'll talk about all of that in this video. Give me 1 second. Let me check something out. Hold on, y'all. Let me know how y'all doing in the comments. In the comments. So this video is going to be helpful throughout your journey of a life. Okay, perfect. So come back to this video as much as needed. Share this video with your friends and your family. And I am also saying, brand new day. I appreciate you guys so much for pushing me to come on the channel, pushing me to pretty much share my gifts and talents with you. We have the astrology group, right? And then the astrology group over on Buy Me a Coffee, we go deep into ourselves in regards to where our planet is at, how our natal chart and the current transit is affecting us. And for that, I appreciate you guys. It really is so much fun to hear the feedbacks on your growth, on getting to know yourself and how to utilize this energy. So I thank you guys so much. I appreciate you. Don't forget that we have services. Interested in a 6-week empowerment program, I'm here for you. Interested in a nutritional wellness 6-week program, I am here for you. Transit, every month things are shifting. All right, we got 12 moons cycles, new moon cycles. We got 12 full moon cycles. So we got there's a lot going on in our lives, you know. So when you do have an accountability partner to help you shift through your intentions throughout the year, I'm here. All right. But for the most part, I also have tarot readings and a lot of good stuff. For those of you who are looking to get into meditation and yoga, hit me up. I got you. All right. Again, let me show y'all the free articles so y'all can go read it, by the way, if you're interested in figuring out what's happening currently. You know, I got to share that with y'all. So, here we go. Who's that? I got to put mine on mute. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I just want to show you guys. Yes, this one right here. So you go to Buy Me a Coffee, and it's free. Okay, you can join for free. It's the astrology group. It's where you pay a little to get a little, or you get a lot. But if you're interested in figuring out what's going on, you can see I give powerful tips. There's tips in here all over the goddamn place. All right. So go ahead and check that out. I'm always sharing prompts. I'm always sharing different ways to get through life, like this video. All right. So let's talk about it. This is a topic that is, and if you see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at my notes. All right. It's a lot going on. So let's talk about it. All right. Releasing people, places, and things, trauma, things that's holding us back is essential for our growth. All right. It allows us to get through the hardest things in life when we let go. Attachment is something very crucial to us as humans. Why? I mean, first and foremost, when we was born, we was attached to the umbilical cord, right? So therefore, that alone creates a sense of having to be attached to something. And then when we grow up, or we're growing up in those stages, you have family members saying, don't pick her up, don't pick him up, let them cry. We don't realize that that's one of the biggest steps into our abandonment issues. All right. So as we get older, we tend to hold on to things, and this is everybody. Through life, we learn tips and tricks on how to release, without guilt, which is some things that we're going to be talking about here. All right. So letting go of people, places, memories, and things that no longer serve us, it really is tied to a lot of our fight and flight mode, our nervous system, even to the point where it causes health issues when we hold on to things. All right. And we'll get deeper into that. All right. So what we're going to be covering here is about toxic relationships. Like, why would we leave that out? Right. Old memories, harmful environments that can keep us stuck. All right. And that includes us living in an environment where we stay there because the rent is comfortable and is accommodating. However, everything else is either falling apart. Your mind, body, and soul is falling apart. Neighbors is falling apart. Something's happening. So when we stay stuck in an environment that's harmful, that also keeps us stuck. All right. We'll talk about, how to set boundaries. All right. And these boundaries, I'm going to give some tips on how to start conversations or get the conversation flowing to let other people know that you're building boundaries and you may not be engaging with them. And I know that's one of the hardest parts, like, especially if you have friends and family members that's there for life, right? My bad. Or you have your friends that you had for 10, 15, 20 years that you trusted. We all go through that, all right? So I would say go and grab your journal, a cup of tea, whenever you catching this, all right? Because we're really in the space of letting go. So write these tips down, all right? Let me go here. Rich Rising, hey Maria. All right. So where we at? All right. So why holding on is harmful? And if you can tell me in the comments, why do you think holding on to things is harmful? That would be great. All right. So holding on to people, places, and things can hurt us. Scientifically speaking, right? When we hold on to trauma or any toxic relationships, it activates our flight and fight response. Now, the fight and flight response, it's during the time that we're in danger. All right. It is a trigger response that helps us know, okay, physical danger is coming along. However, when you're sitting there and you're not in immediate danger, yet your environment is saying that, how does that make you feel? It's like you could be sleeping next to your significant other and your flight and fight response shows up. That's how we become defensive. That's how argument starts to come about. right? When it comes to the environment that you live in, is it dangerous? Do you feel that you get triggered and you physically have to be on guard? All right. Thinking about it, when you're stuck in a toxic relationship or repeating an argument over and over again, your body and your brain is going to react as if it's danger in the moment. Y'all know how I be getting about this. All right. So the stress release, the hormones that on stress, it starts releasing and it starts covering our body and releasing cortisol. All right. And that's when our body is ready to fight or run. But there's no actual threat. So how does this happen? And how does this affect us? How does holding on affect us? It causes us to create feelings of resentment, feeling of sadness, which then can lead to depression and any physical issues, including high blood pressure and heart disease. And you're like, damn, ladies, heart disease? Yes. Personally, literally, I know someone who passed away at a very early age, healthy as hell, healthy physically, emotionally, physically, mentally, in a sense. Emotionally was not healthy. And it truly, a lot of the toxic relationships that person had took them out. Everything else was great. Nonetheless, what took them out was having these toxic relationships. And we never know when somebody's going through something, because it's embarrassing at times to share what we're going through, right? At times society doesn't give us the space to share. So we store. And so that's what happens, right? We begin to store things in our body, and then it starts getting into the crevices of those spaces that were available. And so now our body has to overwork. Mind you, let's go back to where we first started, which was the environment that we were in, the place that we were in, the trauma, the old memories. Whenever you repeat an old memory, that brings you back to that timing, whether you want to or not, and your body starts reacting to it. So it is not just, the people in our life, is our environment, as I just shared. All right. So even when you are having a conversation with a parent, just anyone, to speak about how you feel in the toxic relationship or the item that you're holding on to. Sometimes we do have to speak to our items and be like, baby, I gotta let you go. Excuse me. When we do these things, it really puts us in a space of bringing in fear, bringing in self-sabotage, and bringing in things that actually don't serve us just because we're holding on to that particular thing, people, or the environment. I can share for sure that there has been things in my life that I have held on to for a very long time, and it has dragged me on the floor. I'll share sometimes. It's a lot. It's a lot. All right. And it's just, at times I used to have the benefit of the doubt, It's more friendships than relationships. I'll tell you that much. Don't get it twisted. All right. So let's get into the fear and the self-sabotage when it comes to holding on to people, places, and things. How do me self-sabotage? What? Yeah. All right. So there's two major roadblocks that prevent us from letting go, right? Fear and self-sabotage. Fear is one of the biggest reasons people hold on to things, right? Even if it's hurting them. The fear of not interacting with that person anymore. The fear of not having that comfort item with you. Oh, let me put some lip gloss. And then the biggest thing is we worry that we let go of things and then we'll regret it later. So this fear is obviously normal. I share with people all the time, even though we say fear is false evidence appearing real, when it comes to fear, our ego, all these quote unquote negative actions, negative feelings, it's a protection. It's really a protection. So while fear is normal, it does try to control us, right? To help us to quote unquote be on track to what? To something that may not be actually real. So then what it does, it keeps us stuck. Fear is there to tell us, hey, hold up, what you doing? But at the same time, it could keep us there because we don't know the difference on why we're doing these things. And again, I'll share some extra tips on how to figure out, okay, if I am in fear, what is keeping me here? Is it the fear of, say you're leaving a job. Leaving a job is the fear of not getting that paycheck every 2 weeks. Say he's leaving a significant other. Is it the dependency, the codependency of leaving that significant other? Is it the fear that the person instilled into you? Or is it the fear that you instilled into the person? How does it work? And these are things that we truly, before we even take action and releasing people, places, and things, is sitting back with ourselves and figuring out, how is this going to affect me in the near future? Fear creates mind tricks, right? And having you believing that you can do better or that it's safer for you to stay behind and continue in the path that you're in of the self-sabotaging, of holding on to toxic relationships. And this does include family members, this does include friends, this does include co-workers, neighbors. Toxic relationship doesn't necessarily have to be in a committed monogamous relationship. It doesn't have to be that. You can literally have a toxic relationship with your boss, but your fear of letting go of that job because you get that good paycheck every 2 weeks is keeping you there. So now your stress level be off the roof. You be playing hooky at work. Change your job. All right. So we get into self-sabotage, right? Self-sabotage convinces us, right, that we don't deserve better. So while fear says to us, hey, you can do better, but I don't know how you're going to do it, self-sabotage says we don't deserve better. There's nothing that we can change. It's not worth the effort to move forward and release, right? But the truth is that self-sabotage is a way to also protect us, right, from the discomfort of the change. I know you're like, damn, ladies. Yeah. So what happens? We create a balanced relationship with self-sabotage, right? And he's like, what? Am I not supposed to release self-sabotage? In increments. There's different levels to releasing self-sabotage depending on the scene that you're in. If you self-sabotaging yourself from getting healthy, get out your own way. All right. If you desire to change I'm gonna go back. If you desire to change your job, this is the best example. If you desire to change your job and you find a job that pays you 10 times, well, I don't know who pays you 10 times more than what you're getting now. and you cannot see yourself worthy enough of that amount of money, you can self-sabotage yourself from getting that amount of money because you feel like you don't deserve it based on where you're at right now, right? And then you work through that self-sabotage, you accept the job, you feel that you're worthy, and you can move forward in that new version of yourself. The other end of this is you do not take the job. And that is a form of protection for you. As long as you desire to go through with the complaints that we share with people, the sadness, the regrets, and things like that. So there's two ways to really look at fear and self-sabotage. What do you think? How does self-sabotage prevent you from letting go of that lover that no longer serves you, that lover that is not satisfying you, or that friendship? So we could talk about friendship. I want to talk about friendship. Let's do that. All right. So letting go can feel terrifying because it means stepping into the unknown. But the reality is also holding us back. We will never know. We will never know. You will never know how you're going to do until you actually get there. And that's when the thoughts come, well, I should have never did this. I knew this was going to happen. Did you? Because there really was unknown. There's a lot of things I've done in my life that I had to trust the unknown because I sure didn't know where the fuck I was going. And I could have self-sabotaged myself. All right. So we can dive deep into this. This could be a whole video with fear and self-sabotage. Let me know. I got you. I could do a whole video on each of these topics. Right now, what I'm doing is really getting the gear flowing, especially in the time frame that we're in when I'm recording this. It is hella release energy. Like we have to keep releasing. We have a lot of planets in the zodiac signs where it's like release, let it go. Like that no longer serves you. Yeah, that relationship, that 10-year relationship, that friendship. We're in a space right now where everyone is leveling up in their own way. And many people may not be in that space at this current time. And that does include people that we have been friends with 10, 15, 20 years. We are allowed to get mad and upset and cry, especially if that was your best friend, especially if that was your confidant. You know what I mean? How do we look at this in a positive way when we are releasing this type of energy? The relationship served its purpose. One of the reasons why and I'm not gonna sit here and lie. One of the reasons, hey, I didn't look at the comments. What y'all talking about? Tracy. Oh, I miss you too, girl. Don't make me go to Florida. Oh, I miss y'all. So, here's the thing. When it comes to releasing deep relationships, these are the things that I look at. The things that I look at is, one, during the time that we were in good terms and we were friends and we were helping each other out, was it worth it? And if the answer is yes, stop talking shit about the person, all right? Maybe you mad in the moment that you guys can't support each other anymore. The reality is that happens in relationships. That happened. I learned the hard way, and I learned actually very young. I learned when I was like 16, 17, when a lot of my friends were moving to different states. And I was just like, hey, that's my friend. What happened? What's going on? Should the relationship evolve into a deeper friendship, the understanding of the shifting in each other's lives is crucial. So there is no judgment. You wasn't there for me when my baby was born, and my father just died. So why can I can't be there for you? Like, and we have to remember that our friendships specifically have certain levels. Certain friends can only assist us based on their experience, right? And I also have different levels of friends, right? We want to have one best friend that knows everything about us from childhood to death. Like, first and foremost, that's a lot. You're doing too much. And me personally, I do have a multitude of friendships and associates and things like that. Yes, not everybody knows everything. Heck, I've been friends with people for 10 years and they didn't even know I spoke Spanish. Yeah, like my girls. Hey, they didn't know Spanish. All right. So it is very crucial to know who we handing our life to, all right, and not be upset when they can't deliver. I say this when it comes to friendship. A lot of people want to say, "Oh, I'm cutting you off." No, cut yourself off. Cut that energy off. That energy that you feel that this person might be draining you from. Cut that energy off. That's what you cut off. Because at the end of the day, we can do our best not to judge somebody in the level that they're in. They may level up in the next 2 or 3 months and be in a space where you guys can have a proper conversation. The reality is having a conversation with people, letting them know where you're at and how you have grown in life. A lot of us are not, we met in high school and we don't have that high school energy anymore. One of the things that I noticed when it came to friendship was that as I get deeper into my calling, my spiritual path, there's a lot of dissolvement that has to happen. Why? Because I'm public enemy number one. Me and my friend spoke about this yesterday. I'm public enemy number one. I'm out here getting you healthy, shifting your mindset. And a lot of the people that I used to be around are not ready for that. And if they are, they were also depending on me to shift that for them every time we had a conversation. And at this point where I'm at in my life, I really can't serve like that anymore. I'm serving in a different way. So a lot of times, my friends would like to continue on this life journey with me. They may have to accept that I'm no longer in that space. So what happens? I don't cut them off. I cut the energy that I have shared off because I don't like that energy anymore. And as you begin to call back your power, put some respect on your name when you're doing things, when you're sharing things, it allows you to, again, bring that balance of that holding on to that dependency and that codependency when it comes to our friendships. Because a lot of us do depend on our friends a lot. I know I used to. I'm not going to front. My friends are my life. I love my family. However, I literally grew up with my friends. So I wanted to share that deeply because I know one of the things that's happening right now is the dissolvement of a lot of long-term friendships. And it is very, very sad. It really is sad. But at the same time, we're in a space of releasing trauma. This goes into a little bit of the trauma bonding, right? October 2022, I decided to not trauma bond with people anymore in my life, including myself. All right. And I started realizing that a lot of the relationships that I had were based on the trauma that I had with my mother. So once my mother passed away in 2019, there was a lot of relationships that dissolved. I like that word. They dissolved. And that was okay, right? I had to understand that they were there for me and I was there for them based on that energy. So people who still had the mother in their life, I couldn't really relate to them anymore. So the conversations for me would be about death, and people are not ready to talk about death. So there's a lot that dissolved them. So why am I sharing all of this? Trauma bonding can clear a lot of the draining relationships when you stop trauma bonding. What does that mean? When we stop calling people and pouring into them and then the other person is pouring, but it's all negativity. There's no growth in there. All right, so my mother's dead, your mother's dead, and we're talking about this, and then we're talking about all the negative stuff that our parents used to do and things like that. And at the end of the conversation, there was no real tips or tricks on how we can evolve from that energy, right? And I'm not saying everybody has to know some tips and tricks, but we do go through life where we can notice how certain things assist us and certain things don't assist us, right? So as friends, when we talk about our dead mother or our dead father or whoever is dead and they harmed us, how do we help each other to move past that? Do we share, hey, I use Ho'oponopono to release the negative energy that I had towards my parents. And now I'm understanding a little bit more on how my mother did the best that she could. Are we having those conversations, or are we still continuing to have these negative conversations? And so trauma bonding and release of trauma bonding is very, very important when it comes to toxic energy and trauma. And fortunately, you can focus and recognize that we are the ones that's also creating that cycle, right? We complain about those friends that complain. There we go. We complain about those friends that complain. Hey, I'm gonna leave it there. And it's like, oh, she's always talking about this. She's always talking about that. Why are you entertaining it? You know what I did? I removed myself. And a lot of people was like, wow, Melissa, that's bold. Yeah, I removed myself from people's lives when I felt that I could no longer assist you in your journey. When you're coming to me as a friend, as a sibling, and you continue to come to me with the same issue over and over and over again, and I am somebody who is able to find specific solutions for people. I mean, I get paid for that shit. And you as a friend, as a family member, I cannot assist you. I'm going to exit. And do you know that people get mad when I leave because I can't help them? Bro, it should be. Sometimes you got to be the bigger person and exit the friendship, the relationship, when you know you can't help them. How can I help you if you continue to come to me with the same thing over and over and over again? At this point, I'm the problem. Why am I the problem? Because I'm supporting you in this. And I'm not seeing you grow. So do I like to see you in pain? And I know it's kind of like, what? Yes. At times we support people to be in pain. Oh, well, that's all they want to talk about. Don't talk to them. I'm just sharing that. All right. Releasing trauma. All right. Trauma isn't just something that we experience mentally and emotionally, all right? It can be trapped in our bodies, like I shared before, and it can even, like, when you think about it, why even after we've had like a mental decision to move away from something, we still feel the weight in our physical body? Like if it's here, why do we feel it here? Why do we feel it in our back? Why do we feel it in our knees? All right. So the reality is that we experience trauma at all times. There's something that kind of doesn't go well. I'm going to tell you this right now. Those of you who live in New York, we have community and environment trauma. What do you mean? Y'all know what I mean. When we have the substance abuse people outside, when we have when we gotta watch our bags because we don't know if something's gonna happen on a train, when we when there's gunshots, especially if there's every day, your body's reacting to it, your body's storing that in, your body's reacting to it, your body's storing that in. That creates a fight and flight mode without us even knowing. I wanted to share that, not just New York, anywhere where the environment is very active, there could be community trauma as well. All right. Any painful event that happens, our nervous system stores it. All right. It stores it. It's like fight, flight, or freeze. This is one of the reasons why when something chaotic happens, we tend to just pause and we don't even know what the hell to do. That's our body responding to things. As simple as somebody stepping on your sneaker. Believe it or not, that's a trauma response. All right. So this can make it hard for us to let go of things. We don't want to feel like that. We don't want to go through that. All right. So releasing trauma isn't just about moving what's in our mental, it's also how we release within our body. So I'm going to share with you guys a few proven scientific methods that can help us release some trauma. And it's going to be simple. I'm not going to go hard because y'all know. All right. I'll miss y'all. All right. So where you at? So we have somatic therapy. All right. Somatic therapy, it focuses on the trauma that's stored in the body and helps release it through the physical techniques. Now, if you haven't heard about somatic, it's basically pretty much moves that you do in order to release what I just said, release from the body. So you go through a series of movements, whether if it's on the floor, and it helps unlock specific areas of your body. Let alone when you moving your legs, right? And maybe these are my knees. If you lay down on the bed and you go put your knees from side to side like this, you're moving the hip flexors. And when you move the hip flexors, what you're doing is releasing some of that trauma that we store in our hips. Not just women, but men, just in general. We don't fucking move. I mean, some of us do. Let me not judge you. A lot of us have difficulties moving. We sit at our desk from 9 to 5. You know what I mean? This is the position that we're in. So when you practice some of the somatic therapy, it helps release trauma. We have, and I spoke about this before in the Saturn video, we have ancestral trauma, we have collective trauma, personal trauma, all right? Galactic trauma. We had a lot of motherfucking trauma. Traumatized humans, okay? Another thing is EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. It's a therapeutic method that helps your brain process and release traumatic memories. So there's professionals for this. The only professional I'm in is the next one that I'm going to share. The EMDR, I have practiced it here in my house, with some YouTube. Nonetheless, the somatic and the EMDR is something that I definitely want to also try out. I do a lot of past, which I didn't put here, past life regressions, and that also helps me release a lot of trauma. This, if you believe in past life, some stuff in our past life that may be keeping us stuck in this lifetime, including the toxic relationships. Some of us been in relationships where either we were the abusers and now we're getting abused, all right, or we were the murderers. I mean, sometimes we was murderers in other lifetimes. Maybe not this lifetime and we good, but should we come back, bro? I'm just saying. Do the research. And the last one that I want to share is breath work and meditation. Let alone breath work and meditation helps us calm our nervous system. All right. So when we calm our nervous system, that helps us with the stress level, with the cortisol. That helps us look at situations in a different perspective. When we are in fight or flight or freeze mode, we can't think. All we thinking about is get me the fuck out of here. All right. So that's when irrational decisions come along. When we in breath work, when we in meditation, it helps release some of that trauma. I'll tell you this right now. I done released a lot of trauma, through the breath work and meditation, yoga, a lot of meditation, definitely. All right. These practices can be life-changing depending on where you go. It helps let go of deep, deep, deep emotional trauma. All right. And sometimes it's there's a lot of things that we forget about and we don't understand that it's still affecting us. So doing these exercises can help us find peace and help us feel like we're in control of ourselves. All right. So one of the releasing tips that I have for you when it comes to releasing trauma, all right? Again, recognize what is the root of the trauma. The fear that it brings in, the pain that is causing us, all right? What is it? And then you go ahead and go into a practice, go into meditation, go into journaling, go into breath work, all right? And allow yourself not only to release the trauma from your mind, because the reality is we trying to, oh, I don't want to feel this, I don't want to see this anymore, I don't want to think about this anymore. Again, the body's still holding on to that. So even though you don't want to feel it, this is how we get triggered. Somebody might touch you a certain way, and now that memory comes back. It's all about how we activate and deactivate the memories. All right, so, and then as I mentioned earlier, journaling, right? Bringing in the journaling is important. It's a form of release if we just write things down. And it's hard. It's hard because we don't want to think about it. You know how many times I ran away from journaling? Fuck journaling. And then I go back and I'm like, all right, this felt good. Then you got 30 pages. You're like, damn, I didn't know I could write for 30 pages. Yeah. How old are you? And the minute that you figure out how old you are, you can then multiply the events in our lives. Every day, we can experience 3 to 4 different type of events where it can create trauma or create a positive impact in our lives. As soon as I go out, I got to figure out if, you know, in New York, it's very tough. So I do have an attitude. And when I go out, I'm sitting there watching my back, seeing what's happening. And honestly, I'm figuring out what's about to happen. Because in New York, what's about to happen? Who's going to be screaming across the street like, hey, yo, watch your back? Like, you just don't know. All right. So when we're journaling, it helps us bring back some of those memories that we want to release. All right. So what you really came for? What you really came for? Hey, how's everybody doing? Oh, come on. Hey, Gabby. Yes, this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this, releasing trauma and tips and stuff like that. So you guys can go ahead and utilize this for today. All right. So before I get to the 3 tips, tell me your story. Bring it in. Listen, I gotta do a podcast because I haven't done a podcast in a while. I want to start that back up. So I desire to start that back up. Nonetheless, tell me your story. What situation you have been in where it was toxic, whether if it's a mother, a father, a sibling, a significant other, or where you were toxic. I know and I accept and I know that I was toxic in some spaces. At least I'm real about it. In some spaces where I was just like, I was a toxic one. I learned. All right. This is why we meditate now. This is why we do these things now. When you come from an environment that's toxic, you tend to carry those traits, especially if it's your first 10 years of your life. I grew up with a narcissistic mother, literally. I had to learn that I had some of those ways and I had to switch it up. You know, I'm grateful that I caught on to it early and I was able to put in some practices to balance that out. But I did get my karma back. All right. So tell me your story. All right. So let's go into the 3 tips. Dun, 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 the first tip is identifying what drains you. All right. Before you can let go of anything, we need to know what's draining our energy. All right. Again, this goes back to the toxic relationship, the place that triggers the painful memories. We've heard this before. You can't heal where you've been hurt at. It is very, very, very hard to heal where you've been hurt at. So a lot of us have these painful memories in our parents' house. And when we go for Thanksgiving, when we go for the holiday, when we go to visit, we get those memories and we don't want to be there. That's part of not being able to heal where things have been painful. That also talks about the toxic relationship we have with our significant other. If you're in the room and in that corner was where you had a fight, you know, every time you look at that corner, is what you're gonna be thinking about. What are we doing? And this is us talking. It's not even being judgmental. It's like, what are we doing? Talk to me. You know? So what about the emotional weight that we have on objects? Like, for those of us like me, my the other chain that I had, it broke. I still got it with me. Sis, it broke. Release it. I liked it. Sis, you need to release it. So I'm gonna do a ceremony. However, when it comes to my crystals, I do have a little possession over that. When it comes to my crystals and stuff like that, I really love them. I got a new one, by the way. Shout out to Kim. Yeah, to Kim. I got information so I can go look at some stuff. Now, these things be breaking. Like, you know how I practice release when the crystals break? I'm more attached to items than I am to people. And I know that sounds bad, but it's the truth. I am. So, with that being said, ask yourself this. What am I afraid of losing if I let this go? What am I afraid of losing if I let this go? And I'll put these questions and tips in the description section. All right. These are another question. Is this fear based on reality, or am I holding on because it's familiar? All right. Facing our fears head on is the first step to any type of letting go. The truth is, when most of the things we're afraid of and losing aren't really something that we tend to really be scared of. I'm scared of letting go of those old sneakers because I don't know if I can find new sneakers. You probably will. You just miss the familiarity of the way the sneakers hugged your feet. Next time, buy 2 pairs. I've been through it. I bought sneakers and I'm like, damn, I should have bought 2 pairs. But then you feel weird. You're like, oh, who buys 2 pairs, right? Because then it's like, oh, people's gonna think that I'm wearing the same thing. Are your feet comfortable? Or are you worried about what people think? You see what I'm saying? You see where we're going? We went down the spiral real quick. Come back. All right. So again, ask yourself, is it because the fear is real or because it's familiar and you can't let go? All right. Here's an example conversation you can have with somebody or with yourself. I've realized our relationship is no longer healthy for me. And I need to step back to focus on my mental health. You want me to say it again? All right. I've realized our relationship is no longer healthy. I know this might trigger some people, but I'm saying though, and I need to step back to focus on my mental health. This is not a blame game. This is taking accountability. This is saying, hey, I might be the one with the problem. Step back, step away. And having these simple conversations or bringing up the topic of your own personal health can assist in releasing some of those fears, can assist in bringing time in for yourself. At times, we can't even think, because the person is right next to us, we can't even think what we desire to do with what's happening because we're on the phone or we're texting the person. Take some time. This invites you to take time. Tip number 2, communication. All right, communicate boundaries. We're going to communicate boundaries clearly and push past self-sabotage. Once we identify what's holding us back, we can communicate our boundaries. If you don't know what's holding you back, how the hell are you going to put boundaries? How the hell? All right. So be direct, but respectful when you having these conversations. All right. Here comes another fear. When we're confronting somebody, that alone is a fight and flight. Like, oh, we don't know what this person is going to say. Oh, I know how this person reacts. That's another thing. Let's create a better conversation scene in our minds so that things can go well. I've spoken to the same person with two different methods. The first method is the one with the self-sabotage and getting all crazy. And the other one is actually confronting the person and being respectful, not blaming. And the conversation goes a different way. So confrontation can hurt people, right? It can hurt our feelings. People can feel offended, all right? That's when self-sabotage starts coming in. And we end up never setting a boundary at all because we feel like, oh, I'm limiting the person. Duh, that's what we was trying to do. The person is draining your energy. You figured out that they're not mentally healthy for you. Even with the coffee, you figured out that coffee is not good for you. You have a conversation. Hey, I'm gonna be drinking a coffee that has mushrooms and stuff like that. You know, our relationship, it's not going well yet. It's not healthy for me anymore. The coffee be like, you know, go ahead, try it out. You'll be back. Anyways, all right. So if you find yourself making excuses like maybe I'll get to it later or I can handle this, stop and check with yourself. All right. These thoughts are often self-sabotage and keeps us stuck. So prolonging a conversation where somebody's hurting you or prolonging a conversation where you're hurting somebody, right? Again, it goes both ways. You know, I don't just say you. Talk about you. All right. Here's an example. Y'all know I'll be doing these videos and they be talking to me. I gotta be like, chill. All right. Here's an example of a conversation when you are communicating the boundaries. I am focusing on healing myself and approaching my personal growth. That means I need to create some distance. It's not about you. You know, it's not about you. It's about what I need right now. And I know some of y'all is like, hell no, I can't have a conversation with somebody like this. Practice. Work on it. Practice and work on this. And that doesn't mean be robotic, like, hey, I feel like we should not be talking anymore. Because they're going to kind of know, like, yeah. And then they're going to trigger you even more. So create a conversation with this person. Imagine yourself, meditate, having this conversation of the person respecting your offer, right? Because it's an offer. They respecting it. You're respecting them. You're not saying, oh, this is how they're going to react. They always react that way. So then while you're having a conversation, we're looking for a different outcome. So we're going to think about the different outcome. So how do we think about the different outcome? We release how they used to react. And if they still come with the mindset or the actions on how they normally react, at least you did something different and you recognize something different. You put yourself in a different space. This is all about ourselves and how are we creating what's surrounding us. All right, and the last one is releasing guilt, let go of fear, and detach with love. All right, let me fix this. Y'all don't ever be telling me if my lips be all white. Let me see what y'all saying to me. Okay. Good. Gabby said she took accountabilities for her old ways. One of them now is remembering it's okay to be scared at times while I was pregnant with Leo, I shut down my fears or emotions, and now it has got worse. It's something I'm still working on. I'm afraid of neglecting him, if that makes sense. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I love you, Gabby. I feel you on that. It's deep. It's deep. What we're afraid of, what's holding us back is very deep. It really is. I know for sure one of the things that I allowed to hold me back was my parents. My parents and their health, and the fear of them passing away and me not being around to be there for them. So that really did hold me back from leaving and moving to a different state, moving to a different country. I'm a heavy traveler. You guys don't know, but I'm a heavy traveler. I just travel on the low. Like, I've probably been to 5 different places this year, and it's not even over. You know, I'm a heavy traveler, and one of the things that I noticed I would travel is because I didn't want to be where I was at. I still felt an obligation to be here, and I had fear, and I did do a lot of self-sabotaging when it came to being here for my parents, because I felt guilty. Well, if I leave them, you know? So it's deeper than just this video. It goes back to our childhood, and what we feel is what we feel, not what the other person is really saying, but what we feel is holding us back. I promise you, it was like 5 years ago that I was like, fuck that, I'm leaving. And within those 5 years, my mom's passed away. I was like, oh, I was like, okay. I wanted to share that because, like Gabby vulnerably shared, I appreciate you. It goes back to our childhood, abandonment issues, neglect, um, who was there for us, who wasn't there for us. Let's get to this third tip. I get all emotional and shit. Letting go can bring up guilt, especially if you're used to putting other people's needs before your own. That's parents right there in general. Like, those of us who also have animals, we might feel guilty for stepping away for a long time when it comes to a long-term friendship, or when it comes to not supporting a family member. And we have to remember that guilt is also a form of fear. Oh yeah, fear shows up in many ways. Maybe I have to just do a video on how many ways fear shows up. Should I write that down? Hold on. You know I'll be getting these ideas. That way, when we know how fear shows up, we can identify it and be like, hold up. This look like fear. I got something for you, Papa. All right. Can y'all tell how I be talking to my feelings? I do. I don't know. Maybe one day I'll get one of those cameras where y'all watching me 24/7. Psych. All right. So fear, guilt is a form of fear. It's the fear of what others will think. Guilt is the fear of what others will think. All right. What would they think about me? How will they look at me? You're scared of being judged. Guilt is equal to being judged by others. All right. Judge because you want your own space. Judge because you no longer want to be interacting in this type of relationship. So you fear that. Especially when it comes to our mother. I know for me, for my mother and my father, that's where the real trauma was at for me. I'm gonna tell y'all this right now. It ain't friendships, it ain't work. My true trauma, guilt tripping, abandonment issues came from my parents. And my mother with her health issues, oh boy, oh my God, niña, no, la presión. I'll be like, oh, I'm going over here. Where you flying to? No, my blood pressure's not good. Like, sis, calm down. All right, so holding on to people or things out of guilt is a form of self-sabotage. Yeah, I'm linking it all together. It keeps us in a situation that drains our energy, all right, and it blocks our progress. Remember, we're going back to how are we blocking our progress in life? And this is one of the things. Feeling guilty that we're going to be judged, so that they kind of tend to like continue to drain our energy. And B, we can then say, because this was me, because of my mother being sick, I can't go anywhere. So I used to blame her for not being able to do certain things. Or I can't move because my mother's sick. And when she got to dialysis and she had to go 3 times a week, we couldn't take her anywhere. Anyways, I'm sharing all of this to bring some memories and trigger y'all a little bit so you can understand and understand how you too can get past this. You too can gain the strength to build resilience when it comes to feeling guilty, especially when it comes to our parents or our guardians. Because I know some of us wasn't raised with our parents. All right. So releasing guilt is about accepting that you deserve peace. Releasing guilt is accepting that you deserve peace. All right. And you don't owe anybody a goddamn thing. And call your energy back. All right. Because it's your energy. Your energy is costing you your well-being when we think about how guilty it is. And it did. It cost me my well-being. All right. So the example conversation is, I value the time that we've had, but I need to let go for my own peace. I hope you understand, and I wish you well. How did that ring in your ear? And this could be siblings. This could be family members. This could be friends. Now, I wish you well doesn't mean, did I stay here? We will never be friends again. Fuck you. You hurt me. I value the time we've had, mother. I do. Nonetheless, for my sanity, I need my peace. How? How did I do it? Because I'm talking all this, oh, mother. I personally had my own space. And I chose to exit my mother's environment whenever she got a little bit toxic. You know what I mean? So I'll be like, okay, I'm leaving. And I had my own key to my own space and I was leaving. And I always kept reminding myself, what have I done as a daughter? Have I fulfilled my needs as a daughter? Am I there to support my mother as a daughter? Maybe not as a human being, but as a daughter. What is my role? What is my role? How can I get through this? And that's how I would do it. Again, this is long. It was a long journey. And I'm grateful for each step. All right. So gathering this all up together, let's go through this again. Letting go is a process. All right. It doesn't happen overnight. So I know you're probably looking at this video like, womp, womp. Yeah. Come back. All right. It doesn't happen overnight. And it's okay. I shared this with my friend and she took it. Go through the range of emotions. Don't stop yourself from being angry, resentful. Heck, I even felt like I wish I had different parents. I was there at some point. I wish I had different parents. Why do I have them as parents? Like, can I not have another pair of parents? Like, you know, when they be like, oh, you picked your parents. Well, goddamn, ladies, what lesson did you want to learn? Nonetheless, All right. Go through the fear, the guilt, the sadness. All right. What's important is that you don't let the energies and emotions stop you from doing what you desire, stop you from your progress. All right. Fear is just a sign that you're stepping out of your comfort. You're stepping out of your comfort zone. So when you're scared, it's like, I've never been here before. What is the air like? All right. And then when you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that's where growth happens. All right. So by identify what drains you, communicating your boundaries clearly, and letting go with love and without guilt, you have more sense on how to protect your energy, how to bring in some peace into your life. All right. And then you're making room for new opportunities. I didn't think I was going to talk about this. You're making room for new opportunities when we release this space. Y'all going to make me do this? Yeah, spirit, there's a lot of stuff in here. You see how this is packed? Let me see if y'all can see it. You see how this is packed like this? That's all the fears, right? All the fears, let it go. It's empty. It's space. This is what happens when we release. There's space. And with that space, you get to put more stuff in there. I put in love, new opportunities, people that support me, amazing supportive relationships, communication, clear communication, respect, boundaries, money, love. Anyway, that's an example of what it would look like when you release some stuff that you're holding on to, some trauma within your life. All right, hold on, y'all. Y'all be wild. Y'all know I'll be wild. All right. So, how do we end this? Just make sure I give y'all everything. All right. The act of letting go is about reclaiming your power. I spoke to y'all about that already. And moving forward with intentions. Remember that you are worthy. All right. Of a life full of peace, love, joy, happiness, and drama free. Nonetheless, if you're the drama creator, come through. Let me help you out. I used to create a lot of trauma too. I was living off my trauma. Like, as far as I was very reactive back then. Now you say something, I hit you with a couple of words. It is what it is. All right. Don't let fear, self-sabotage, and outdated attachments hold you back. You don't have to be in that space anymore. If you move from being from your masculine to your feminine, you don't have to being a masculine anymore. You don't have to overreact anymore. Allow things to flow. All right. So y'all already know I love y'all. I pray that y'all find this video helpful, not just today, but moving along, coming back to the tips and the tricks. I'm going to be again sharing it in the description below. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and check out all the other videos that I have on there, because I'm pretty sure I have some updated videos on what's happening astrologically. All right. I love you. I love you. And I'm coming back this week, so I'll see y'all soon.